Inside Dorit Kemsley's date night with her special boy. Dorit Kemsley looked quite happy as she navigated big changes in her family life. Amid her marital split with Paul P.K. Kemsley, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member enjoyed a fun-filled date night with her no-one guy. And yes, we're talking about her 11-year-old son, Jagger Kemsley. Dorit Kemsley shares a look at her life with her son and daughter. "Love date night with my boy," Dorit captioned a May 27 Instagram story. The video showed the mother and son at a hibachi restaurant as a chef performed several tricks for patrons. Although he was sitting before a delicious food spread, Jagger could barely take his eyes off the chef's fiery stunts. The boy seemed particularly impressed by the onion volcano and amused by the disco laser effects, so much so that Dorit couldn't help but giggle at her son's reactions. The housewife also shared an adorable selfie of her and her son smiling ear to ear at the hibachi table. Hours before her special date night, Dorit shared a quick update on her and PK's daughter, Phoenix Kemsley. The mother of two shared a video of the 9-year-old girl at the Grand Academy of Ballet, where she demonstrated her turns for the pre-professional final exams. Dorit Kemsley and PK Kemsley separate after nearly 10 years of marriage. Dorit and PK announced their separation in 2024, just a couple of months after celebrating their 9th anniversary. "We as a couple have been subject to a lot of speculation about our marriage," they wrote in a since-deleted Instagram statement. "We have had our struggles over the last few years and continue to work through them as two people who love each other and shared two amazing children together. To safeguard our deep friendship and maintain a harmonious environment for our children, we have made the mutual and difficult decision to take some time apart and reevaluate our relationship while we prioritize our children. We appreciate your love and support while we continue to do the work necessary throughout this journey." Although Dorit previously claimed she didn't want a divorce, she confessed she didn't necessarily know if she wanted to stay married. Less than a year after confirming her marital split, Dorit filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Housewives react to Dorit Kemsley's divorce filing. Dorit's castmates have since weighed in on her decision and expressed sympathy for Dorit and her family. "I literally just found out online like everyone else, maybe an hour ago," Erica Jane told Briefing on Bravo on April 25. "Obviously, I reached out to Dorit. She's got more important things to do than to talk to me right now. How does anybody feel when they hear that a family's broken up? You feel badly. This is sad. It's a sad thing." Kyle Richards, who is also navigating her marital split from Mauricio Umansky, echoed her longtime friend Erica, insisting she also felt for the Kemsley family. "That's just always sad to me," Kyle said in her April 28 briefing on Bravo Stream. "I love her family and her kids. It's just sad. That's all I can say about that." A devoted mother in Beverly Hills. The valet had just whisked away the black Escalade, and the Los Angeles sky had dipped into a lavender dusk. Dorit Kemsley adjusted the gold chain on her St. Laurent purse and turned to the young man holding her hand. "You ready for the volcano, my little prince?" Jagger, all lanky limbs and soft blonde hair, flashed the kind of mischievous grin that reminded her, painfully and beautifully, of PK. "If it's the one with onion rings stacked like Mount Fuji and shoots fire like a dragon, then yes, very." He wasn't just her son tonight. He was her date, her confidant, and maybe the only man whose presence didn't feel complicated these days. They were standing outside Yamato, a sleek hibachi restaurant in Beverly Hills where you came for the theatrics and stayed for the miso butter sea bass. Dorit had made the reservation a week ago after a long cry in the bathtub. The kind of cry that makes your face puffy and your soul a little lighter afterward. She had called it a healing night in her mind. But to Jagger, it was just hibachi and maybe ice cream after. The fire show. Inside the restaurant, the smell of soy sauce, sesame oil, and ginger clung to the air like perfume. They were seated at a long communal grill, but Dorit had requested the corner seats, space for privacy, and for laughter that didn't have to feel shared with strangers. The chef, a man named Kenji with the charm of a magician and the reflexes of an athlete, tossed knives, spun spatulas, and flipped shrimp into his own hat. Every sizzle of the grill was like punctuation to their conversation. Jagger was wide-eyed. Oh my God, he just made the egg bounce like a basketball. Dorit burst into laughter. He should play for the Lakers. Dorit and Jagger's sweet night out. The sun was just beginning to slip beneath the horizon, casting a golden pink hue across the Los Angeles skyline. The city's energy shimmered as lights began to twinkle on like scattered jewels, one by one. Somewhere between the glamour of Beverly Hills and the soft quietude of family life, Dorit Kemsley fastened her gold cuff bracelet and took one last glance in the mirror. Her blonde waves fell effortlessly around her shoulders, and her makeup, as always, was flawlessly applied, a touch of rose on the lips, a glimmer at the corners of her eyes. But tonight, it wasn't about being red carpet ready or making a bold statement on Bravo. Tonight was about something far more meaningful. Tonight was for Jagger. 11-year-old Jagger Kemsley was waiting by the stairs, adjusting the sleeves of his white shirt in a way that reminded Dorit just how quickly he was growing up. He looked up and gave her that half-smile he'd inherited from his father, PK, the one that crinkled his eyes and made her heart flip with pride. "You look very handsome," she said, walking toward him. "And you look very extra," he grinned. "Oh, really?" Dorit raised an eyebrow, feigning offense, then tickled his side. Jagger burst into laughter, his arms flailing as he tried to escape her grasp. It was that same laugh he had when he was a toddler, high-pitched and full of abandon. The evening was off to a good start. The magic of the ordinary. They slipped into the backseat of a sleek black SUV, the city gliding past them like a dream. Jagger pressed his face against the cool glass, watching as stores turned into shadows, traffic into streaks of color. "Where are we going?" he asked, turning back to her with that familiar spark of curiosity. "It's a surprise," Dorit replied. "But I'll give you a hint. It involves fire." "Fire? Like a campfire?" "Nope. A fireworks show." "Getting warmer." Jagger's eyes lit up. "Is it that hibachi place where they flip shrimp into your mouth and make onion volcanoes?" Dorit laughed. "You guessed it." Jagger fist pumped the air, the simple joy of the moment radiating off of him. When they arrived at the hibachi restaurant, the air was already rich with the scent of sesame oil, garlic, and grilled meat. The flicker of flames lit up faces all around them, creating little glowing pockets of shared laughter and awe. A hostess led them to their table, where a half-moon of eager diners had already gathered around the steel cooking surface. Jagger took his seat right next to the grill, practically bouncing with anticipation. "I've been waiting for this all week," he whispered. "I even watched hibachi videos last night." "You did?" "Yeah, I want to catch the shrimp this time." Dorit smiled. There was something magical about children this age. Still young enough to be amazed, old enough to share in the joke. The onion volcano and the laugh that changed the night. Their chef arrived with flair, a tall man in a red bandana and lightning-fast hands. He introduced himself as Chef Kenji, spinning a spatula between his fingers like a samurai preparing for battle. With a theatrical bow, he struck the grill with a metal clank, and suddenly the show began. Eggs were cracked mid-air, rice flew like confetti. Flames soared so high they lit up Dorit's gold earrings, catching the light like tiny suns. And then came the famous trick: an onion, stacked like a miniature tower, was set ablaze, spewing flames like a fiery volcano. Jagger gasped so loudly, the whole table turned to look. He clutched Dorit's arm with both hands, his mouth hanging open in awe. That was insane. Chef Kenji grinned, clearly proud of the reaction. "Next time," he said, "you light it." "Me? Jagger asked, eyes huge. Dorit leaned in. I think you're up to the challenge. And so, under careful supervision, Jagger held the lighter and created his very first onion volcano. The table applauded. Dorit captured the moment on video, already imagining the Instagram caption, "My little fire starter." Later, as the chef flipped a shrimp toward Jagger, the boy opened his mouth wide, leaning back dramatically. He missed. The shrimp hit his cheek and bounced to the floor. Jagger burst into laughter, doubling over in his seat. Dorit wiped a tear from her eye, unable to contain her own giggles. That was the moment, right there. That unfiltered, belly-aching laugh. That was what she wanted to remember. Not the shrimp, not the volcano, but that laugh. A conversation over fried rice. As dinner wound down and the sizzle of the grill gave way to soft conversation, Dorit and Jagger found themselves lingering, sipping on pineapple juice and sharing spoonfuls of mochi ice cream. Do you think Phoenix is going to become a ballerina? Jagger asked, his voice casual but laced with something deeper. I think she's already becoming one, Dorit said. She works really hard, just like you. I miss her when it's just us, he admitted. But I also kind of like it.